All right, we are back.
Yes, we are. Good morning.
Under the tower.
Under the tower.
This is Kaylee Durrance and John Guthrie, and we are back with our podcast, and we have a special edition today because we have Dr. Vance Wilson. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's ironic that you're here today.
Yes.
Because of the tragic incident that happened with the Bengals and the Bills.
Yeah, last night.
Crazy. So, you know me, I'm sitting at home going, I wonder what happened. I wonder how this can happen. I wonder what this and what this. So as we think about poor Damar Hamlin in the hospital. Now, the good news is he had $2,500 raised for his toy situation. And now he has how much?
Over $3 million.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So first of all, we know that he's a good guy, we think.
For sure.
And then secondly, he's doing great work. Only been in the NFL for 2 years.
Right, 24 years old.
Yeah, 24 years old. Just shocking. But Dr. Wilson, as we think about this, obviously we don't know, right?
Yes.
And it's way too early to speculate, but there are some theories out there, and I wonder if you could share what those theories could be.
Well, hold on. For those that do not know what's going on. Monday Night Football, the Bills and the Bengals were playing, and that is when they did a typical tackle. Now, correct me when I'm wrong on here. Did a typical tackle. He fell down, he got back up, and then he instantly fell to the ground. And that's when they had the medics come on the field. They started administering CPR for 10 minutes. And then I don't know what else happened in that huddle. Do you?
They defibrillated him.
Okay, yes.
Got his heart rhythm back.
Right. And then the ambulance came on the field, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then they indefinitely postponed the game.
Yes.
Which was the right thing to do, I think.
Absolutely.
How could you possibly play like that?
Right. And then they made the announcement that he had cardiac arrest on the field, and that's why he is now in the hospital. Is that right?
That's correct.
So let's start with what is cardiac arrest technically?
Right.
So cardiac arrest basically means your heart stops. Heart can stop for a variety of reasons. Looking at the TV replays, he got hit by the shoulder pads right in the left chest. So there's a condition that we've known about over a century. It's very rare. It's called commotio cordis. And it refers to a blunt impact. Most often it's a baseball. I don't know if this has ever been reported with shoulder pads before. But it's typically a baseball that strikes the left chest, not hard enough to actually crack any ribs or bruise the heart muscle, but hard enough to actually deform, kind of press on the heart muscle. And the critical thing is a matter of timing. This has to occur in a very precise time of the cardiac cycle, and we can actually draw that on an EKG, show you what that looks like.
I have paper if you need it.
Because they've done animal models, and if you strike a pig with a steel ball, and you strike him in the left chest at the right time interval, you can cause the heart rhythm to basically degenerate into what we call ventricular fibrillation. And once that happens, your heart's not pumping at all. And your survival totally depends on how quickly somebody can recognize what's going on and apply defibrillator pads and shock your heart back into normal rhythm.
So what you're saying is it was unfortunate, perfect timing of the impact on his chest.
Possibly.
Okay.
We want to make it clear we don't know that that's what this is, but some people are speculating that that's it. And that's why I was so glad we could talk to Dr. Wilson about it, because we don't know.
Yeah.
But this is something that happens. And in my reading, typically teenagers.
Yeah, the average age is 15. It's very rare
For
past the age
this
of 20.
condition.
For this condition. Most of the time we can't identify anything wrong with the heart, but we always wonder whether there's an underlying electrical predisposition of the heart, and I'm sure he'll have access to the best experts in the field to look for those.
And we would assume that he has been, or they have been following, all the usual cardiac tests, you know, that any professional athlete would have.
That would be routine. I'm sure he's had an EKG before, he's had an echocardiogram or a heart ultrasound before. This is really just a freak occurrence. These episodes are rare, they're very tragic. I'm hoping and praying they've defibrillated him in time. I know if he typically afterwards, if somebody's in a coma, we'll do hypothermia. We'll cool them down for at least 24 hours.
Right.
We do that at this facility. We've been doing that for years.
Right.
And we do that. It's kind of like icing an injury. So you're basically icing the brain to allow the brain hopefully to recover. So we probably won't know for another 24 hours or so when they withdraw the.
So the danger is lack of blood to the brain.
Exactly.
That's the danger. Let's see an EKG. You have your big pad of paper.
I do. And if you are listening to this, you can watch us on YouTube, Halifax Health's YouTube, to see the graphic that we're about to draw. But quick question: I saw reports say that they put him to sleep, like in the hospital.
Yes.
Is that so there's no disruptions, so that he gets blood to the brain?
No, I think probably what they were doing is implementing hypothermia.
Oh,
so
like you were just
you cool the whole entire body down.
Yeah.
You sedate them so they don't shiver. So you give them medicines to stop them from shivering, and they stay unconscious, and usually for at least a full 24 hours before they start to warm them back up again.
So this is all protocol, what they're doing, putting him to sleep.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Here's a board. I have a marker too.
Okay.
If you want it. It's
Sure.
a rather large board.
Yep.
That's how we roll here at Halifax.
So you probably have all seen a diagram of a EKG, but the heart runs on electricity. So what I'm going to draw is a typical EKG complex where you have an initial wave, we call that a P wave, and then shortly after that we have a QRS complex, which is much bigger.
Higher.
And then a little way after that we have what's called a T wave. So let me describe this. So this is a P, this is a T, and this is a QRS. So let me describe what happens. During the P wave, an electrical spark is being passed through the upper chambers, and the upper chambers are contracting at the same time. That electrical signal then travels to the ventricles, where all the pumping occurs. And as that spark spreads through the lower heart chambers, you get this big electrical spike, and that's when the ventricles are contracting.
That's the heartbeat.
That's the heartbeat.
The actual heartbeat.
After that, the lower chambers have to recover. Electrically, they return to their baseline state. And that's what this T wave here is. And we've always known the heart is a little bit vulnerable during this T wave period. So animal models have shown that when you look at commotio cordis, if we look at this 40 thousandths of a second interval right before the peak of that T wave, that is an extremely vulnerable time period in the cardiac cycle.
Wow.
And if you get hit just right, just the right amount of energy, it's usually not injury severe enough to break a rib. A typical thing is a baseball, and here we're contemplating it's the shoulder pads hitting his left chest, that it hit him right at that vulnerable period in his cardiac cycle. And that can cause
And you said 40 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, the peak is between 0 and 20 thousandths of a second.
So to dumb it down for all of us that are not medical, in between the heartbeats is when he got hit.
Yes.
And because of that, it threw everything else off.
Yes.
Wow.
And I said, this is very rare. There are reports going back over a century.
Yeah.
These are rare episodes, and they're always very young.
Yeah.
Being 24, he's a little old for this. It's usually typically a baseball. The size, the shape of what you get hit with seems to matter. It causes a little deformation of the heart muscle, just like it pushes in.
Yeah.
It's usually not severe enough to actually damage the heart. Usually there'll be no evidence of heart damage afterward.
Okay, so if this was me, would you let me go back and play? Like, what's next?
Oh, I think that's way too early.
Okay.
I know one of the things you want to know is there anything about his heart that predisposed him to this?
Right.
So all these electrical currents run on ion channels, where ions move in and out of the cells.
Yeah.
There's a lot of genetic variability in those ion channels. Some of those are diseases that we have defined, like long QT syndrome, Brugada syndrome. Now, he's had screening EKGs. Most of these would have gotten picked up.
Right.
But he could have something subtle that predisposed him to this.
Sure.
I'm sure he'll have a lot of testing to look at that.
Yeah.
But certainly before there's any talk about him going back to play.
The big thing we have to reiterate is this is speculation still.
Yes.
All speculation. All you've shown us is commotio cordis. This is what happens in commotio cordis. We don't know.
What happened to
And
him.
the most important thing is we all need to have our thoughts and prayers
Correct.
for Damar and his family, because, I mean, this is,
It's tragic.
Right.
yeah, scary. And so, and what it really comes down to is, and it looks like they acted quickly with CPR.
Acted quickly. He's got youth on his side.
Yeah.
Hypothermia therapy. We've had tremendous number of saves with that technology.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's getting the best of care.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Dr. Vance Wilson from the Daytona Heart Group, thank you so much for explaining this to us. I think this makes it very clear how truly, truly, truly this was, as they're saying, the perfect storm, because it came together in a 40th or 20,000th?
Within 40,000ths of a second.
That happened, if that happened.
Hit just at the wrong time, with just the right amount of energy, in just the wrong place.
Insane.
Very rare condition, very tragic.
And what we do is hope that he got the right care at the right time, and that he doesn't have any lasting impact from this.
Right, we're thinking about him.
Alrighty.
Thank
we
you.
are grateful for you being here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the family, the Bills, everybody.
Everyone.
That's it for Under the Tower today. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, guys.